No, they remastered it. They didn't remix it. Guys, we're live.
Hey.
Ho, ho.
There's no need for Megadeth to remix Moto Psycho, okay? It's perfectly good the way it is.
Josh, I figured I should just tell you, go ahead and fix your video lag.
You fucking fix your lag.
Bitch, you're the one being a Moto Psycho. Sitting in traffic, wrote this song.
Those lyrics are already better.
Hello, traffic, it's me again. I'm your car.
Oh my god.
Adrian,
What's going
it's just
on,
you and me.
Psycho?
I did. We both thought the same thing. Dude, you look like a hobgoblin. You look like you ask people to pay the toll.
Oh, when they go over the roll or whatever. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, Adrian, you would be sad to know that probably the best live song in Megadeth's set was "Sweating Bullets."
Ba-dum-dum. That's because Dave Mustaine can't sing live good anymore.
Could he ever?
I would say any more or any ever, yeah.
I've never seen him. Like, I don't actively listen to live music as far as, you know, like live albums or whatever. So I have no idea how the band sounds live.
They actually so like full transparency, I went to the Lamb of God, Megadeth, Trivium, and Hatebreed show the other day. And I'd never seen Megadeth live before. I'd seen all the other bands before. And Megadeth legitimately stole the show for me. I thought they were actually really good. You know, the downside for me is just not knowing the songs well enough yet. And you couldn't hear Dave Mustaine's vocals. They were really low and kind of weak. Unless you had moments like Sweating Bullets where, you know, there's no guitar that he's trying to sing over, and so you can just hear it come through.
Maybe that's
but in general, they were super tight. Like the band sounded really good.
What is their current lineup?
I mean, don't get me lying. I don't know, but it's I know it's Mustaine. I know it's Kiko Lorio playing guitar. I know it's James Lomenzo playing bass. I don't know who the drummer is. I only know the bassist because he was in Black Label Society for a long time with Zakk Wylde.
James
Lomenzo.
Lomenzo. I wanted to say Laguzzo. I don't know why.
Yeah. But the band sounded good, and it was entertaining, and the songs that I knew. The good thing is they played a lot of stuff basically from Countdown Extinction and before, and so, which was really good because that was a lot of stuff we talked about, and they only played a couple of newer songs. I can never remember the name of the fucking album.
Dystopia?
Yeah, Dystopia. Yeah.
But you did mention it did get you excited to hear Dystopia, but I mean, it's going to be a while before we get there, but...
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, we're doing this pod, and now we can fucking start up on the last 5 Megadeth albums, because I need to change from some of this bullshit.
Yeah, we'll see. But because our ratings last time, just for a quick recap, well, you know what? Actually, let's save that for the actual pod. So, if we don't have any, I guess YouTube specific stuff, what are we doing next week, Josh?
We're going to be taking on the number 86 movie of all time, Platoon.
Yay!
Finally a good one, huh?
12 Angry Men was pretty good.
12 Angry Men was good, bro. You should watch that movie.
Look, Adrian, if you watch any movie from our list, if you're only going to watch one, you should watch Bringing Up Baby.
No,
isn't that the worst one?
Yeah,
no,
it is.
No. It's the best one. It's got the highest score.
Yeah, that means it's bad.
What? No.
Yeah, don't watch that shit, dude. Don't watch.
No, but yeah, we're gonna be doing Platoon next week, and then what do we have coming up after that? The Shitties, right? That'll be our third Shitties.
Yeah, I think so. That'll be the 5th movie.
Yeah.
The 3rd annual that we've done
the
this year.
3rd annual Shitties. Yep. And then who knows what else we're doing.
Hey, well, you know what? We can let YouTube know about this, like, I guess, sneak peek. Much to the chagrin of Josh, we're going to be reviewing the new Matrix movie when it comes out later this year. But leading up to that, we're going to sprinkle in our reviews of each of the Matrix movies in the original Matrix trilogy. So I love those movies.
Much to the chagrin of Josh. Whose idea was that, Dave?
I mean, yours, because you want to talk shit about it.
That's right.
So I just rewatched the first one in preparation for the fourth one and Animatrix. Yeah, I mean, I think the first movie and the Animatrix are fucking awesome, but the two that follow they're just not good, man.
Well, when we did the best sci-fi bracket here a little while back, I tried to rewatch that first Matrix. And I saw that thing in theaters like 3 or 4 times. So I liked the movie when it came out. I tried to rewatch it twice.
It's aged bad, man.
I couldn't get through it. It was so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's aged horribly. But believe it or not, in 2003, whenever the other two came out, I feel like computer animation was at this even worse stage of development. So what is it called? Revolutions and what else?
Reloaded.
Reloaded, yeah.
It just looks so weird, like almost like video games, computer animation. Whereas, on the 1999 movie, the original, it just looks like 1999 computer animation. Yeah. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
But
I just knew that when I tried to rewatch it, I didn't want to take any red pill or blue pills. I just wanted to take the cyanide pill. Oh, hey.
Cyanide. I don't even remember that song, dude. I just know that song sucks.
I try to tell
I've already died. Just the funeral I'm waiting for. Dude, yeah, you're right. Ugh. You're right, Adrian. I want to give you a recorded credit that we all went to see Metallica at Ozfest, and Metallica debuted a Death Magnetic song, and it was Cyanide. Why on God's green earth did they pick that song out of all the other songs they had on that album? They did. And me and Josh, I remember we were like, oh, man, this album's going to be so fucking good. Oh, shit. That song was amazing. The best song since Justice. I remember saying that. Sentence.
I didn't say that.
And Adrian was like, I mean, it was okay, guys. Like, it was all right. Like, I guess. Like, it might have been not good, but it was loud. It was okay.
Is it better than Moto Psycho?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking Bop is better than Moto Psycho.
Oh shit!
All right, let's get into this.
All
right, we've already digressed long enough. Let's go ahead and kick this into high gear.
Kick this into high speed dirt, you mean?
Yeah, that's the name of this podcast, dude. We should have called this podcast High Speed Dirt.
Oh man.
Hold on, guys. I gotta engage for this intro. For your intro, Josh.
Well, good thing I can't see you. Hello, and welcome to Three Guys and a Mic presents A Metalhead's Journey, Megadeth, albums 6 through 10. I'm your co-host, the Human Dart, along with
David Disaster.
Adrian Aftershock.
What's up,
guys?
Hey,
we did it.
How's it going? I'm used to going last, so like I waited for a second or two for Adrian to go, and then I'm like, you know what? I just need to go ahead and say my name already because I think
you have to tell me these things. I don't know the joke with the sunglasses either. My bad, bro.
It wasn't. I don't know what I was doing either. I was actually trying to distract Josh, but he wasn't actually looking at the video. I think he's learned not to look at the video while he's doing an intro.
Yeah, I type out my script now on the intro, and that way I don't have to look at your dumbass.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Hey, how's everybody doing this week, man?
Oh man, it was a close call. We thought we weren't going to be able to get this podcast done this week, but I was able to make some magic happen, and now we get to talk about Dave Mustaine and his great band, Megadeth.
Mistake.
Oh wait, did I say that? I meant Dave Mustaine.
The mistake was Metallica letting that talent walk out of the door.
Oh God, no, it wasn't.
Hey, so that brings up an interesting point. I want to get Adrian's opinion on this because I spoke to Josh about this. I don't think it was last week. It might have been the week before. But Adrian, alternate universe, Dave Mustaine doesn't get kicked out of Metallica. Is Metallica, and let's assume all the riffs that he created while he was in Megadeth, like some of them could be Metallica riffs or whatever songs. Is Metallica a better band overall, or are they worse, or are they about the same?
There would definitely be a different band for sure.
Different?
I think different because I think Kirk Hammett kind of lets Lars and James walk all over him. I mean, really, as big of a Metallica fan as I am, I couldn't even tell you what actual writing credits other than Enter Sandman that Kirk Hammett actually has.
Does it matter?
I mean, the answer is no, but because I still think Kirk Hammett is arguably the best guitarist who ever lived. But you don't think so? No?
No, but keep going. Keep going. I want you to finish your thought.
There's a difference between how fast and how technical you can play versus you being able to fucking sing with your instrument. And that's the difference between Kirk Hammett and basically almost 99% of the other guitarists in the fucking world. But that's neither here nor there. I don't think Dave Mustaine has, that's one thing about Megadeth that I just don't know is you listen to a song, who's playing the solos? Is it Mustaine? Is it whoever the fuck he just happens to have there at the time? I legit don't know. Other than the system has failed, I imagine that's Mustaine, but
it's actually mostly Chris Poland.
Oh wow,
yeah,
okay.
it's a little bit of both. I think in studio, a lot of times it's the other guitar player, but okay. I mean, when I saw him live, he was playing a lot of solos too. They were trading off back and forth. It was funny though. There was one song they were playing, and Kiko Lorio's playing, and he's fucking shredding. I mean, just I play a little bit of guitar, right? I'm not any good, but I know the difference between what Dave Mustaine is playing and what Kiko Lorio is playing. So I'm watching Kiko, and I'm like, man, this is really good. And then Dave Mustaine comes over, and he's doing some Am I Evil type, just little 2-finger tapping thing, and the whole crowd goes fucking wild for this guy. And I'm like, okay, I get it. He's Dave Mustaine, but just not as impressive as his lead guitar player.
Gotcha. Anyway, I guess moral of the story is I think Megadeth or Dave Mustaine leaving Metallica was going to happen eventually, no matter what, because of creative differences, possibly creative control. I mean, you can't have two
alphas.
And honestly, I don't even know where James and 3 alphas, right? James and Lars stand and all that, but 2 versus 3. I mean, come on, man. I think it would have happened regardless, and I'm glad it did for many reasons. And one of those reasons being Dave Mustaine having his own success outside of Metallica.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of Dave Mustaine's success outside of Metallica, that's kind of what we're here to talk about. So, we decided we were going to do a little music series here on Three Guys and a Mic called A Metalhead's Journey. And it was going to focus on the big 4 bands of thrash metal. So if you don't know, that's Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, and of course the mighty Metallica. I think Dave's got it on the YouTube channel here, so you can see what the bands are with their cool logos and everything.
Yeah.
And we did this for a couple of reasons. One, we were kind of just talking about how much we kind of hate. Maybe hate's a too big of a word, but.
Not for me.
We just kind of dislike a lot of the newer metal out there. And we decided, you know what? We've probably never really given Megadeth their real due. So why don't we just force ourselves to listen to Megadeth nonstop for 6 months and then, come back and review it on the podcast.
Yeah. So
something like that.
So that's what we're doing. We're right now we're on Megadeth. After this, I think the plan is to go to Slayer Land and then Anthrax, and then we're gonna finish with Metallica and revisit them, and then kind of do a final podcast. We're gonna, once we get past Megadeth, we'll bring in Jason and we'll review the other 2 bands and bring all this together. And then after that, this journey isn't actually gonna end. We've kind of expanded it. So after this, we're going to take on the top 50 metal albums of all time. I compiled,
that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I compiled a list based on a bunch of different reviews, a bunch of different websites, ratings, and other publications, and created a list based on that. And we're going to tackle that list 5 albums at a time, kind of like what we're doing now. And it's going to be really, really fun, I think. I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to that. So,
I guess that's going to be a really good one. So for today, so we're talking about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just go ahead, Josh. I was gonna just recap after you're done. I'll recap what we gave the last previous 5 albums.
Do that first.
Okay, so the previous 5 albums for Megadeth, the ratings are very close because although our personal ratings is very different, just like the average scores kind of worked its way that way. So we have Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. We gave that overall a 34.67. Peace Sells.
And just for those out there that maybe are coming in to Three Guys and a Mic on this podcast and don't understand our rating system, we created our own proprietary rating system for our movie podcast we've been doing, and we figured we would apply it to this. So these scores are from the Shitometer, and the name of the game is the lowest score possible. You want the lowest score because it's the least amount of shit.
Yes.
If the score is like high in the 50s, 60s, 70s, up to 100, then you're just drowning in shit.
Yeah, more or less anything under a 50 is probably something we would recommend you listen to. Anything over a 50 is varying degrees of something we wouldn't recommend. And then, as you get really high, it's like flat out just no redeemable qualities whatsoever. So Killing Is My Business, 34.67. Peace Sells, 39. So far, so good. So what? 35.67. Rust in Peace with a 19.33. That is the highest or best score so far. Countdown to Extinction, 43.67. So that is now the lowest score or the worst score. So
fucking Gomez torpedoed that shit.
Yeah. So overall it was just not super favorable. So. Yep, that's where we're at so far. Josh, go ahead.
All right, so our next 5 albums here we're going to be talking about today is Euthanasia, Cryptic Writings, the all-time classic Risk, The World Needs a Hero, and The System Has Failed. So I think we should start here with Euthanasia. So this album came out in 1994. It was certified platinum. This album, which I can only imagine based off the success of Countdown to Extinction, actually debuted at number 4 on the Billboard rock charts. This album had 2 singles that came out. Train of Consequences, which is the opening song, I believe.
That's the second.
Oh, no, it's the second song. That's right. Train of Consequences peaked at number 29 on the Billboard charts, and then A Tout Le Monde peaked at number 31 on the Billboard charts. And we're still rocking with the classic Megadeth lineup here. So that's Dave Mustaine, Dave Ellefson, Marty Friedman, and Nick Menz.
Yeah. Adrian, you got any opening thoughts?
So for Euthanasia, let's go ahead and get down to the nitty-gritty here. All right. So I'll just go ahead and start with where I was at with Countdown to Extinction. So I told Dave that I think I need to give that album another fair shake. I think the term juxtaposition, just the difference between Rust in Peace to Countdown might have been like way too much of just like a weird transition for me, especially the previous 4 albums before Countdown. Like, just I don't know, it was just weird. Didn't work like Black Album.
Well, you got 4 albums that are just straight thrash, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, immediately it goes down to this mid tempo.
Right. And I don't know why, but I hate to bring a Metallica this quick, but I mean they did it right? But I just Countdown, it just didn't work for me. So for me, Euthanasia was a spiritual successor to Countdown, and I think it's better than its predecessor. It's I would say most of the tracks are not bad, but the kind of the thing is for me is that the ones that aren't good just don't stand out in any way. The production isn't it's on par with Countdown. Musicianship isn't bad, but it isn't really notable either, in my opinion. For me, as far as vocals go, they're fine. Nothing really stands out that's bad or great, but the fact that the goofy Cookie Monster vocals are not a part of this album is already a thumbs up for me. I'm going to go ahead and get with my lowlights and highlights on this one. Lowlights for this album is Train of Consequences. It is the
I also have that.
It is the only one for me. Highlights.
The vocals are shit. They are shit on this album.
Yeah. Highlights are Euthanasia. I thought I knew it all. How the hell you say it? Okay, that one. Addicted to Chaos and Victory. This had a lot of good songs to me on it. Songs that stand out, and this is an album that I will happily revisit. Should I go ahead and give my shit-o-meter score?
Yeah, go ahead.
Euthanasia gets a 40% from me. Whereas its predecessor got a 65% from me. So, there you go.
All right, you want to go next?
This was Megadeth finding their footing in this style of music, or starting to find their footing in this style of metal, in my opinion.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
All right, so, I'll kind of mirror some of the thing, or echo, I should say, some of the things that Adrian said. So I got here, production, very crisp production, especially the remaster. Crisp was like the perfect word that I could like it's I don't know. It was very, all the instruments very clearly heard, very solid. Similar to Countdown, although I think the production on this, because I went back and listened to Countdown a little bit, I think this production is a little bit better than Countdown overall.
I feel like it went a different direction than Countdown for production wise.
The song musicianship, I just have here, very simplistic song structures. Unfortunately, no memorable guitar solos, and I feel like that's going to be a very consistent thing I talk about over the course of most of these albums. On these five is I can't I don't remember a single like guitar solo. Like nothing sticks out for me. Vocals, I think Dave Mustaine's vocals are totally fine. There's nothing terrible here. There's nothing too egregious. There's no bread line or other ones we'll talk about.
We'll get to whoa! Don't go meta here, Dave.
Low lights. I have Black Curtains. I don't like that song whatsoever. My highlights are Train of Consequences, Addicted to Chaos, and A Tout Le Monde. I rated this just above Countdown because I think overall this album actually is much more consistent than Countdown. Although I think Countdown has higher highs, like higher peaks. I think Euthanasia just like I can listen to Euthanasia from start to finish pretty much and be totally fine. I gave this a 26. Comparatively, Countdown was a 28 for me. So that's just give you an idea where I was at.
All right. Yeah, production. Like I said, I feel like it took a step back from Countdown. I just don't feel like it was as loud. You go back and listen to Countdown, and I'm trying to remember the opening song now for Countdown, and I can't remember what it is now.
It is
anyway. Yeah, Skin on My Teeth, and just that guitar riff and everything. Like the guitar is so like crunchy and loud right there, and I don't feel like there's any of those moments on this album, but not too bad. One funny note about the production that Dave Mustaine talked about is the guy who produced it wanted every song to be like the same tempo, and so when he went through the album originally, every song was like the 120 beats per minute tempo. Whoa. And then Dave Mustaine said when he went back and did a remaster on it, he sped up some of the songs because he couldn't stand it. Instrumentation-wise, Dave, I think you're right on. I actually wrote here from a note standpoint, nothing memorable from a guitar solo standpoint. And then his vocals, much better melodies. Skippers for me, Train of Consequences, and Elysian Fields. That song sucks so much fucking cock.
Oh, shit.
Favorite songs, I think the best song on the album by far is The Killing Road. Look, I don't know. There's like 4 lyrics in the song. It's brainless as shit, but like he sings it really good, and it's got a good just fucking groove to it. I enjoyed that song. Tout Le Monde, Family Tree has some really good harmony guitars in it, and the vocals are really good. Euthanasia, And then I did like Victory as well, because I like all the references to some of the previous material.
I almost put that as one of mine. I think it's a good song. I just didn't quite give it a highlight.
I don't know if the song is that good, but I just like the references.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that like exactly word for word. Like I don't even know if I like the actual song. I just like find myself just grinning at the way he fit in the old lyrics and the names of other songs in lyrics. I thought that was cool. Yeah.
So overall, I came in on this album with a 37.
Ooh. All right. You did something similar to me. You basically probably, I don't know if this is exactly what you did, but you gave it just above Countdown, basically.
I agree that it is. While there's probably 3 songs on Countdown that are better than any song on this album, the bulk of this album is better than everything else on Countdown.
Yeah,
agreed.
I completely agree.
All right. So what was our total score there, Dave?
34.33. So very, very respectable. That is actually a better score than any other album on average that we other than Rust in Peace. So far this is
Euthanasia is the second best album right now?
Yes, it is.
Wow. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. I mean, like I said, I rated it pretty high, I guess. Maybe I'm a little high, but I don't care. Adrian, you want to go with Cryptic Writings? We'll just keep going in order here. Makes most sense.
Yeah, let me give some info here. So Cryptic Writings came out in 1997. This album is also certified platinum. This one debuted at number 10 on the Billboard charts, so slightly less than Euthanasia did. The song Trust was nominated for the Best Metal Performance Grammy for that year, but it lost to Dave. Who do you think it lost to?
What year?
You like this would have been the 1998 Grammys.
Until It Sleeps.
And you like this you like this band, Dave. It's not Metallica.
Tool.
With Arms Wide Open.
Tool, Enema, or Anemia, or whatever it is.
Good. That
Tool,
album
blah,
totally
blah, blah.
deserves to beat it.
Whatever that garbage is. Okay.
Fuck you.
Yeah. So I thought this was interesting about this album is this album actually produced 4 top 20 Billboard songs. Trust made it all the way to number 5.
Ooh.
So Trust made it to number 5. Almost Honest made it to number 8. Use the Man made it to number 15. And A Secret Place made it up to number 19.
Ew.
And just one other anecdote here about the lyrics. Dave Mustaine came out and said, the lyrics on this album were altered to be a little more inclusive of people who aren't into dying and evil.
Okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, so and the lineup is, this is still the classic lineup, so that's Mustaine, Ellefson, Friedman.
So this will be the last, this would end up being the last full classic lineup album that we would have ever gotten. So.
Oh, and it shows. As we'll see. Okay, I'll go ahead and start with Cryptic Writings. All right. So this is an album. Let me just go ahead and say it right here. This is my favorite album of the 5. This is where I truly feel they have found their footing in this direction. I will jam this from start to finish from here on out because this is, I would say it's a great album. Even the non-highlight songs to me are good. Just not really notable. Production is on par with the last one. Musicianship isn't really notable, but there's a lot of tasty ass fucking riffs in this album. Riffs and licks. Melodies, I mean, they're catchy and catchier than ever before in any of their songs to me. Lowlights. Have cool, will travel. I don't know what that means, but will travel.
That song sucks.
That is the only lowlight I have, and that is the only song.
No,
yes,
that's bullshit. That has to be bullshit.
No, it's the only low. I legitimately liked, or I wouldn't say love. That's a strong word. This is not so far so good, but I really like this album the most out of all of them. Highlights are going to be Trust. I feel like I've heard this song since the first time I heard it, the first Saturday, because I've been starting albums on Saturdays. The first Saturday I heard it, I've probably heard the song 100 times since then. This is
damn it.
I am not fucking around. This is probably my favorite Megadeth song so far. Not probably, definitely. I mean, it is just as a guitarist who tries to write catchy melodies and really great melodies and all that, I mean, I feel like this song has it all. I don't know what it is. It's simple, it's easy, but to me, it's just fantastic. When a song gets you from the first time you hear it, it's so rare for me. But when it gets you from the first time you hear it, it's
That's true.
I mean, that means it's fucking great. I mean, to me,
you're making me want to make my score worse. Like, I want to adjust my score to.
You can do that because I got you whenever we get to the system has failed, bro. So you can do that if you want. Anyway, my highlights: Trust, A Secret Place, and She Wolf. Those songs I would just straight up say are great. The rest of them, with the exception of Have Cool Will Travel, are good. I give Cryptic Writings.
What's your second least favorite song? Come on, bro. There's got to be another song on there that's just straight shit. Because there's a song that is so fucking bad on this album, I can't stand it.
Which one is it?
What? Almost Honest.
I mean, dude, it's right after Trust, so I've heard it many times as well, dude. I mean, I think I like the song, man. I don't know.
Come on, bro. It's like listening to fucking Cars, bro. In Cars, man.
Dude, what about FFF? That song sucks, dick.
FFF. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. If it wasn't part of the original, which I don't think FFF was, maybe it was.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay. I think, once we get to the Spanish version of Trust, which is hilarious to listen to if you're a Spanish-speaking person. I'm
going to punch you in the fucking face, Dave.
Anyway. I
Shit-o-meter.
Shit-o-meter for Cryptic Writings for me. Again, the best of the 5 in my opinion. Probably the second best Megadeth album in my opinion. I give it a 30% on the shitometer.
Oh, wait. You gave it all that praise and only gave it a 30?
I mean, dude. I mean, it isn't. Dude,
I'm about to make some adjustments. Go ahead.
Well, here, while you're adjusting, I'll go.
Go ahead and go.
Yeah,
I'll go next after you.
Yeah. So production-wise for the album, same thing. I think it sounds exactly like Euthanasia does. Instrumentation, I put minus a couple of songs. This album is full of stock guitar riffs and stock guitar solos. And vocal-wise, good melodies. I thought Dave Mustaine showed up pretty good here. Low lights for me, Skipper's Almost Honest. I put in here Reminds Me of Cars by Gary Newman, and man, it sucks. Have Cool Will Travel. I hate everything about this song.
Even the name.
And then the song Use the Man. I put in here that this sounds like Diet Bon Jovi.
Whoa, shit.
Favorite songs though, which includes, let me actually read you this note. This is the best song from any of these 5 albums. Fight for Freedom, okay? It's a great song, okay? Now, there's one knock on it, which is, I mean, why you got to hijack the Motor Breath riff to make another song on your album here, but great riff, great vocals. Vortex, I thought this is the best guitar song on the album. You have a great solo in Vortex. She Wolf, like Adrian said, was really good. Secret Place, great vocals. And then obviously I do have Trust on there as well. So I thought this album overall was really good. I don't think it's quite as good as Euthanasia, but it's close. I gave this a 40 on the shitometer.
Holy fuck. Okay. I guess I am way too generous with my fucking scores. Yeah.
Adrian, go piss.
Sorry about that.
All right. I'll go ahead and go here. I think I'm too generous with my scores overall, man. I might have to fucking just revisit all of them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to stick with what I had with what I originally put. So Cryptic Writings, I put it's continuing the trend of the last 2 albums in terms of production. So the production value is very good. The musicianship, I'm still waiting to be surprised here. There's really nothing. None of it's bad. None of it is bad at all. But the song structure is, you got very simple song structures here. I don't personally have any memorable riffs necessarily in anywhere here. Like none of them are bad, but I couldn't mouth any of them right now to you if with a gun to my head. Vocals, I think I think this is up to this point. This is the best Dave Mustaine has sounded. I think his vocals throughout this are very, very strong. Not lyrics necessarily, but just the vocals in general. Lowlights, I have FFF. I just think that's a rip. I think it's a rip off of Motor Breath, and I can't unhear that. And so I just
okay, fine. Stop. Did you have the Mechanics on your highlights?
I did.
For Killing Is My Business.
I did. Because that song used to be a Metallica song. Metallica actually played that song as their song.
Well, Metallica played Motor Breath, and he straight ripped it off here. He just did a much better job of ripping it off this time.
I don't know. I didn't like it. And obviously Have Cool Will Travel. That truly is the worst song on the record. My highlights are Trust, Mastermind, and She-Wolf. Overall, I think this record is... although I don't have it, I don't have it the lowest of the three of us. I feel like I dislike it the most. If I never heard this record again, I wouldn't be upset. But that doesn't mean it's a bad record, and I'm not going to recommend it. My score's a 38. But overall, like I don't think I'm missing anything. I'm the complete opposite of Adrian. Like if I never hear this record again, I'll be totally fine. Like I would live my life and everything would be fine. But
so interesting. If the Wikipedia is to be believed, or if maybe I'm misunderstanding it, Have Cool Will Travel, Vortex, and FFF were only part of the 2004 re-release. Weird. But I mean, that's what I'm understanding from the Wikipedia. It could be maybe I'm misunderstanding.
So if that's true, and all of our lowlights are on, if all our lowlights are on the release that wasn't the original release, then I don't know. Maybe that means the record isn't as bad.
Better than we think it is.
Listen, let's not say our lowlights, okay? Because "Fight for Freedom" is the best goddamn song on these 5 albums.
You're stupid and wrong, but whatever.
I mean, it's not a bad song at all. It just doesn't really stand out to me, I guess.
Yeah, personally. I mean,
"Fight for Freedom."
I mean, no. I think this is just a worse Euthanasia, in my opinion. Like I said,
the score.
Fuck you, Dave. You're a worse fucking Euthanasia.
Well, like I said, I gave it a 38. So I mean, I think it's solid 10 points worse than Euthanasia. That brings us our average score to a 36. So man, we're just living in this mid 30. Kind of like the tempo of like the last 4 albums. We're just living in that mid tempo, decent scores here.
It's okay.
Yeah, Dave, I got a prediction for you. I think this next album is gonna change the rating system here.
I don't know. That's a risky prediction.
Here we go. Good segue. All right. Next album here on the list is going to be the 1999 fucking metal disaster piece known as Risk.
Metal. Are you sure?
Okay. Alternative rock disaster piece. This album debuted at number 16 on the Billboard charts.
Nice.
This album featured Dave Mustaine, Dave Ellefson, Marty Friedman, and a new drummer by the name of Jimmy DeGrasso. The album had 2 songs that broke into the top 10 on the Billboard. Crush 'Em, which got all the way up to number 6, and I can't believe it, but fucking Breadline also got all the way up to number 6. So the name for this album reportedly came from an interview where Lars stated that he wished Dave would take more risks with his music. Dave Mustaine says if the album was released without the Megadeth name on it, he thinks this album would have sold. I don't think so. Basically, the main reason why they took this turn here was that Marty Friedman basically came out and said that they're too big of a band to be treating themselves as an indie band. So if they kept doing what they were doing, basically they're just kind of fighting for scraps. His thing was they need to be more aggressive, like the bands of the time, like Korn and Limp Bizkit, or go the other direction and become a little bit more alternative and more radio friendly. And so they took that turn towards radio friendly.
So Marty dug his own grave there, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I come out? Or after you finish, Josh, I wanna take an aside to make a controversial statement, but I'll let you finish first.
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about one other thing that was I thought was kind of funny from the album. So the song "Crush 'Em," this song became the most popular song from the album. This was used in sporting events, hockey games, right? It was also used in a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie for Universal Soldier: The Return, which had Jean-Claude in it, but it also had Goldberg. And this is basically like as big as Megadeth had ever been up to this point. Is actually got to play live on Monday Night Nitro, and they played the song for Goldberg's return after being gone for 6 months.
Oh, man,
so kind of a big deal for Megadeth there.
All right.
So Dave, wait, I know what you're gonna say. I'd like to say what I'm gonna say first because I know exactly what you're gonna say. So first off, Risk is probably the only Megadeth album of these 5 that I actually kind of delved into as far as looking at the history of it and just, I guess, the politics behind it and shit that's happened within the band after and while it was happening, for example, with the Lars kind of giving them that idea for the name. So Crush 'Em apparently is Dave Mustaine's least favorite song, Megadeth song. Crush 'Em, and I guess there's an intro for it too. That it's a weird transition thing. Anyway,
yeah. So the intro is like it's okay, right? Like you're building up to something. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And then it goes into Crush 'Em, and it's like it's a totally different song. It doesn't take anything from the build up and do anything with it.
Right. And I'll get with that when I talk. Well, no, you're good. However, Breadline, which is probably my least favorite Megadeth song of all time. I fucking hate this goddamn song.
Yeah, I thought you were going to swerve on me there.
No. What I said, or what I sent you guys an article, and I kind of read different people's takes on it and all that, and basically the thing, that song Breadline is why Marty Friedman left the band. And he originally recorded the guitar solo for it, but the producers didn't like it, or the record label didn't like it, and they had Dave Mustaine re-record a new guitar solo for it. Dave Mustaine only agreed to do this as long as they told Marty it would happen. Well, they didn't, and they all sat there and went to I guess they went to the studio and they wanted to listen to their finished album. And Dave apparently could see Marty like in tears almost, while he hears Dave Mustaine's guitar solo happening during this awful, awful fucking song. And that was the nail in the coffin for Marty Friedman leaving the band.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I wish I could hear Marty's version. That way I can know the difference between him and Dave. I really don't. Marty Friedman, is a great addition to the band, it seems. But, ultimately just hearing all these things about his direction and all that may not have been the case. And yeah, he's a good guitarist. I don't know if he's writing any of those riffs, because for me, it's the riffs for Megadeth that stand out, not the guitar solos. Anyway, we'll get into our review. Dave, I'm going to go ahead and let you say what you're going to say about.
So your sentence there kind of segues into what I want to say. After now that we've kind of, even though we haven't given our Shadow-meter scores for Risk or gone through Risk, but we've all listened to the quote unquote the golden age of Megadeth and Marty Friedman. Among fans, before Three Guys in a Mic was ever a thing, when I was just a young teen, I always heard Marty Friedman was like the greatest guitar player that Megadeth ever had. Like, Marty Friedman was on almost every top 100 guitar players list. He was always near the top, and all this. And I don't know anything about his solo career. So my knowledge of him, just push is only Megadeth, right? So that's all I have to go on. But I think I can safely say and comfortably say right now that I don't give a shit about Marty Friedman. I think he's one of the most overrated guitar players that I've ever heard in metal. Like, I don't know that having heard the albums where he played having heard the albums before he joined the band and heard the albums after he left the band, like, other than Rust in Peace, I have no idea why this man is talked about in such reverence. Like the guitar solos in Megadeth are some of the least memorable. I'm sorry for this rant, but there's some of the least memorable fucking guitar solos in most metal bands that I've heard. And I'm not trying to shit talk Megadeth, but I don't think that I don't like them for their guitar solos because they're not even memorable. It's the riffs that are the highlights for the most part for me. Right. But yeah,
I just think he gets. I think he gets the pass because of this, just based off the strength of Rust in Peace.
Yeah, and maybe it's the strength of like he was with the band during their most commercially successful and most he was there for Rust in Peace, which is their widely touted as their most technical and like best technical metal achievement. And then he was part of Countdown and Euthanasia and Cryptic Writings when it was like, I guess Risk to a much lesser extent, their most commercially viable era, right? So he's the guy. But honestly, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, to me, he's overrated as shit as far as his contributions to Megadeth. Now, if I look at all his writing credits and I see like, oh, he wrote this riff or he wrote this riff, sure, maybe I would think differently. But just from a guitar solo standpoint, no. I mean, no. Yeah, I'll give him Rust in Peace, and I'll say, yes, that album sounds fucking great. But I don't know how much of that is Dave and how much of that is Marty. So that's it. That's all. I'll get off my soapbox, but I just
as a guitarist, I got to tell you, I love virtuosos, and this guy's supposed to be a virtuoso, and I don't get it. He's a better guitar player than I will ever be, but you and I talked about this, Dave. Is I don't know what's worse, being awful or being forgettable, and I just feel like Marty Friedman's very, very forgettable. At least his Megadeth showing, personally.
Yeah, that's that's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't know anything about his solo career, what he's done in Japan, and all that. I know he's had a very lengthy career since then, and he's super successful, and that's awesome. But I don't get it.
Cool. We'll go ahead and get into the album, though. Risk. All right, so for me, the direction is inconsistent and just completely and utterly all over the place. There's way too many skippable tracks that just aren't good to endure the album to get to the songs that are actually decent. Production seemed to go backwards from the previous 4 albums.
Agreed.
And the post-production editing for me is awkward. We just talked about from Enter the Arena to Crush 'Em. It's just... I don't understand what they were going for there. Like I just thought it was weird. Musicianship was fine, but I just the inconsistency, the mixing of styles throughout the album was just weird for me. Vocals were fine. There wasn't anything I loved. In Crush 'Em, there was that megaphone distorted vocals. I just thought that shit was awful. I hated it. I hate whenever anybody does those in metal. Dream Theater does it a lot, where they do like those megaphone kind of like almost rapping style singing that's just really weird. I just hated it. And yeah, it's a product of its time, whatever. Lyrics were abysmal to me. But this was the only album that I bothered to even look into the lyrics, just because of how bad it I just got, and because how notoriously bad.
I think we all did the most research on this album because we were all shocked by how fucking terrible it is.
Yeah. And I looked at a bunch of reviews for this album, and yeah, the lyrics were one of the things that were supposedly notoriously bad. All right, so lowlights. I wrote something interesting here that I didn't write on any other album. Lowlights. Anything that isn't on the highlights, but especially Breadline. All right. Highlights. Prince of Darkness. The Doctor is Calling.
Oh God!
The beginning, time the end. There are 4 songs on this album that I actually liked. My shitty meter is a 60%. I would not recommend this album to anybody, but I think it's better than Countdown. I'm just gonna say it.
Oh no, dude! Come on, you need to revisit Countdown. I think that you would. Yeah. You would. I'm gonna
certainly appreciate it more now.
I mean, I don't disagree, and I haven't revisited it, but if I did, I would tell you there's only one song I want to hear on Countdown, and it's the song Countdown to Extinction. So that's just me. But anyway,
I'll go next. So Risk, I mirrored pretty much exactly what Adrian said. I said production is taking a turn for the worse. Definitely a step down below the previous albums. Not entirely sure what happened there. Musicianship, the direction of this band seems completely lost, and they have no idea what they're doing. Songs are completely inconsistent. They jump between one to another. It completely like it's jarring is what I put basically. It's like it's almost like you hit shuffle when you play this album, even when listening to it straight through. Vocals, I said Dave sounds fine, but the songs that he sings don't do him any justice, and neither do the words, is what I put. So like he sounds fine, but yeah. So lowlights, I put Breadline, comma, the rest of the album.
So Breadline most importantly, and then everything else.
Yeah. Highlights, I put Crush 'Em, just because that's the only one I can actually stand, and it's like the first song. When I first heard the album, I remember listening to that song and thinking, I don't know why this album gets a bad rap. Like, that song is fine. It's fine. Like, that's fine. And it is not fine. My shitometer score is a 78. I think this album is absolutely gutter trash. I don't recommend anyone listen to this album whatsoever. I think Adrian's 60 is way too optimistic. Because I don't think there's whenever Adrian and I were talking about this album weeks ago pre-stream, I told Adrian, because Adrian was me and Adrian are different as far as how we review records. And Adrian was saying, well, man, look, there's like two or three, like I might take one or two or three of these songs and put them on a playlist or whatever. And I was like, Adrian, that's not how I do this, okay? When I'm reviewing an album, I review the album in its entirety. And I don't care if there's two or three decent songs. That's like if I'm eating a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but instead of milk, I'm using diarrhea. Okay, and I don't care how good the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is. That bowl of cereal is going to be awful. So, yeah, it's a 78.
So, first of all, are you 10 years old? Because Cinnamon Toast Crunch is garbage. Second of all...
Dude, stop.
You clearly haven't listened to the Three Guys in a Mic best cereal bracket, because it's already... Yeah, spoiler alert. It's the winner.
It wins.
Okay. Well, look, dude, I like old people cereal, and I have since I was a kid.
What do you like, some grape nuts?
I mean, I'll take some Raisin Bran over I'll take Raisin Bran over, name any fucking cereal with a cartoon mascot on the front of it.
We had Raisin Bran Crunch, but Dave voted it off.
Okay.
It went up against Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I think.
Oh, well, okay, then I voted it off too.
Anyway, so look, man, songs are allowed to be good on shitty albums. I mean,
sure. I mean, it's possible for that to happen, but it didn't happen here.
I mean, Load and Reload. You're very familiar with those albums, Josh.
Shit.
There are good songs on shitty albums. I mean, it happens,
That's fair.
All right, Josh,
go ahead. I'm not going to waste my time with the rest of the stuff here with the production and instrumentation vocals, because you guys said everything. Skippers, definitely Breadline. I just have in parentheses here. That is straight up. Like, I had a buddy listen to work. He's like, that sounds like a worse Guns N' Roses. And I was like, it does. It really does. And now all I can imagine is Dave Mustaine doing the fucking Axl Rose crab walk. And it makes me want to fucking vomit. I have The Doctor Is Calling. The notes are, it's really bad. The transition from Enter the Arena to Crush 'Em is disappointing. And then my final note is, I really hate every song on this album.
Dude, did y'all seriously not like the Time songs? Like, I thought they should have started the fucking album with these songs, or started with the beginning and Time at the end. Like, I don't know. I just think these are actually good songs, personally.
No, they're not. The only highlight on this album is Enter the Arena. That's it.
and that's look, that's very fair to put that on there, but the fact that it's an intro for Crush 'Em and it's a Well, it's a good intro that goes into a poor song. It just, it affects Enter the Arena for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Adrian, strap in. I gave this album a 95. This might possibly be the worst fucking piece of music, any genre I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh, God.
That is the fucking worst. I will never go back to that album.
I'm crying.
And I'm so happy that we're fucking done talking about it, so I never have to fucking say Risk again.
All right, so that gives us that has definitely taken the throne as the worst Megadeth album, and I cannot imagine it ever losing this seat. Okay, it's at a 77.67, driven only largely by Adrian's incredibly overly generous score of a 60.
I mean, look, man, you and I talked about what anything above 50 means. And look, I think this is a better album than Countdown. I just do. Sorry. I rated Countdown 65. I could not rate this one lower.
All right.
Jesus.
You know, well,
hey, you know what? This podcast needs a hero right now. So let's move on to the next album. So thank God in 2001 we had a small return to form in the album The World Needs a Hero. This album debuted at number 16 on the Billboard charts. This album featured a new guitar player. So yeah, Dave Mustaine, Dave Ellefson, still had Jimmy DeGrasso playing drums, and you now have Al Pitrelli playing guitar here. The band came out and they referred to this album as the antidote for Risk. Moto Psycho was your lead single. No surprise, it didn't chart. Yeah. Moto Psycho. All right, Bromez, take us through The World Needs a Hero.
So The World Needs a Hero is the follow-up to Cryptic Writings that we all needed. That I mean, look, I'm okay to completely axe Risk. Yeah, I just 4 songs that are pretty good. And it's not my least favorite Megadeth album by far, but I feel like if we went ahead and just pretended this was the true follow-up to Cryptic Writings, we can believe it. The production comes back, and the difference between The World Needs a Hero and the previous 5 albums is the guitar playing actually had some balls and some feeling and some memorability to it. Even the guitar solos, I feel like they got a guitarist who wasn't just this technical powerhouse. They had a guy who could, and whether that have been Dave or Al, whatever the fuck it is, to me it's noticeable. Al Pitrelli. It's noticeable that it's not Marty Friedman. It just is. This album, I feel like it's the one I listened to the most out of all 5. Not necessarily because I think I liked it more. Just the week that it landed on that I got to listen to it, I just had more freedom to listen to music. And when I listen to these albums, dude, like the whole week is dedicated to them. I literally don't listen to anything else. If I do, it's not intentional. My headphones are in, or I'm in my car, I'm listening to these albums. And for whatever reason, The World Needs a Hero, I probably heard this album 10 times that week in its entirety. All the way through. But we get to our lowlights, and these songs, especially a Moto Psycho, which I'll get to in a second, they started being skippers. The World Needs a Hero, the title track, I don't think it's good. I think it's very weak. I don't know why they chose that one to be the title track. I mean, it's a strong name for an album, if you ask me, but the song is not good. And then Moto Psycho, which I think sounds like a very, very bad 90s Saturday morning cartoon intro, which, I mean, bad Saturday morning cartoon intros don't exist, but this song does. Anyway, highlights will be Disconnect. It starts off with a great riff, tasty riff. The chorus, or rather the verse, goes into an even tastier riff. And I'll take good riffs. I don't care what tempo they are. If it's a tasty riff, it's a fucking tasty riff. And that song, it got a lot of listens to me, even outside of just listening to the album. So Disconnect, Recipe for Hate, Warhorse, Dread and the Fugitive Mind, and Return to Hanger. And I know we kind of talked about this via text message, the three of us, but I liked 1000 Times Goodbye. And there are some silly, look, I'm a big Pink Floyd guy, and I can respect samples and all that shit being put in the music if it's done right. But or not, but I know you guys didn't like these. I thought it worked, man. I really thought it worked. And if you don't think it worked, you know what? You really suck.
Oh wow.
Oh God.
Anyway,
I'm gonna give your Dave Mustaine impression a 100 on the Shadow Me.
Well, you really suck. The World Needs a Hero. I give it a 49%.
Oh, your first big boy score. I'm proud of you.
Well, I mean, it wasn't bad enough to be a 50, Dave, but it wasn't good enough to be a 45. So there we go.
All right, so I'll go next. So, World Needs a Hero. I said overall the production sounds bad, but it is an improvement over the previous record. I don't like the production of this at all. Actually, I think production just sounds off, is what I put. It's lacking punch. So it's like the opposite of what Adrian said. I don't like. I think this production on this album sounds pedestrian or even amateur overall. Like I just don't. Maybe it's the mix or something. Musicianship, I put it's definitely a step in the right direction. Back towards, I put Countdown, Youth, or Cryptic. Like this is definitely in that vein. Vocally, it's fine. Again, I think at this point, Dave Mustaine is kind of locked into his pocket. Like he knows what works for him, for his vocals, and but you know he has a problem with lyrics. I want to say Dave Mustaine overall, if there's one thing that I can say he has an issue with, it's an inconsistency with his lyric writing. When the lyrics are good, they're good. Like he knows how to write a hook, and when the lyrics are good, like they sound good. But when the lyrics are bad, they're not tolerably bad. They're fucking awful. Moto Psycho, I feel like we're all going to have that, but I'm going to also call it out here. It is a fucking terrible song. After
Dave,
like
while you're talking about lyrics there, what are those? What is that song written about? Moto Psycho.
Well, you're just driving, basically going to work, and you're waiting through traffic. If you work 9 to 5, then you probably...
I mean, literally, what the fuck does Dave know about that, though?
I don't know. It's about commuting. I guess one day he had to go to the doctor, and he had to sit in traffic.
You know what, traffic?
Guess that.
Hello, traffic. Meet my car again. Like this dude is like... okay, I have Recipe for Hate.
That song would have been infinitely better if that was the fucking lyrics.
Yeah, I have Recipe for Hate because that song sucks balls. I don't know what you're talking about, Adrian. That song is not good. My highlights though are almost identical to yours, Adrian. I got Disconnect, 1000 Times Goodbye. I think 1000 Times Goodbye is low key one of the best songs of these 5 albums.
Dude, I mean, we pretty much wrote Lies. It was the follow-up to this song. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I just think this is a good song, man. Like, I like it. I don't even care about the phone messages. I think it works, man.
1000 times goodbye. The chorus is just absolute money.
It's so good. Yeah, the phone messages, they kind of fade into the background the more and more you hear it. But
when it gets towards the end of the song,
I don't think it needs it.
When it gets towards the end of the song, when it gets real cringy, I just go ahead and boop. I just go ahead and get. I just
like I love you like a brother.
Yeah, I'm like okay. Let me go to the next song real quick.
The X messages to me are fine. It's when Dave says, "You know what? You really suck." Yeah. Is when it's like, okay, all right, now we're getting fucking awful here. All right.
So and then Promises is also a highlight for me. I actually really like that song.
Yep. Yeah. So let me just throw it in there. Sorry to cut you off, Dave. Promises was on my lowlights this morning. I took it off. That song grew on me.
It graduated from a lowlight to just a song on the album. My score is not far from yours, Adrian. I feel like this is one of the first times you and I are in sync. Bye. I got a 46 for the Shitometer score.
I'm sorry, Josh. Right. What did you give The World Needs to Hear? Oh, my bad. You haven't gone yet.
Yeah. So I think the fortunate thing for this album is that Risk exists. And so I think it makes this album just infinitely better right off the top. The production, I guess I just don't like the way these records sound. The instruments, riffs are much improved on the album. There's a few standout solos. And I feel like this was a bounce back album for Dave Mustaine as far as his vocals go. Skippers, Moto Psycho. And then I had the last song, Win, which is the 9-minute song at the end. I put okay, we're hijacking more Metallica music with the intro to Call of Cthulhu, and then I put Dave Mustaine does not possess the ability to write a song that is 9 minutes and make it in.
Jesus, he just fair.
He doesn't. That song sucks, dude. It's so bad. For favorite songs, I have Disconnect. I think we've all talked about that one. Great riff. 1,000 Times Goodbye. Promises, the great vocal melody during the chorus, I think saves that song. I begrudgingly put Recipe for Hate, Warhorse on here because I can't stand the fact that Dave Mustaine can't name his fucking songs. Just one or the other. Is it Recipe for Hate or is it Warhorse? Either way. It's like fucking Rust in Peace, Polaris. Like, just pick one. Either way. That's a heavy track, and I felt like this was the best solo of any of the albums up to now, as far as in this group of 5. I thought the solo on that album is really, really good. On that song is really good.
We're talking about Warhorse, right?
Warhorse, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Shitometer for the album. While it's an improvement, I wouldn't quite put this in a recommend for me. Unfortunately, I would give this a 52.
All right,
we're all pretty close.
Oh, so Adrian ended up being right. The average score is going to be a 49. So, Adrian, I guess that makes you the man.
Yep.
So, yeah. This next album is going to make me upset, and I think we're going to figure out why, really quick. But I guess, Josh, go ahead and describe this next album. This depending on how much research you did, there's probably a lot of story here.
Yeah. So the system has failed. So this album came out in 2004. This one actually debuted at number 18 on the Billboard charts. So this album was actually supposed to be a solo record from Dave Mustaine. The backstory on that is the band broke up in 2002 due to a lot of things, but mostly due to an injury that Dave Mustaine sustained while he was in rehab. He fell asleep with his arm over the back of a chair, which caused something called radial neuropathy. This left him unable to grasp or make a fist with his left hand, which is fret hand, as we know. After a year of physical therapy, he was actually able to begin playing guitar again, and he started working on a solo project. But due to contractual obligations with their label in Europe, not even their label here, but their label in Europe, he was forced to release this as a Megadeth record. And so he was forced to bring in some other members to actually re-record some of the parts for this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he try to reassemble the original lineup for this one?
He did. He did. Marty.
We say original. We're talking 84 or
the classic lineup.
He tried to reform the classic
Friedman
lineup.
Okay.
So that was specifically for the tour of this.
Yeah. So Friedman turned him down. He brought in Menza, but Menza was in no shape to actually go out on tour. So the people on this album are Dave Mustaine, Chris Poland, Jimmy Lee Sloas, and Vinny. Sorry, Vinny, I'm not even going to try to say your last name, brother. But he played drums.
Yeah, the Chris Poland, I think he recorded most of the guitar solos on this record. If not, almost all of them were his. And that's all he did. He only agreed to do that, to be a session guitar player. He didn't want to go on tour with him or nothing. Because I think they were still not on good terms.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gomez.
All right. So here's my thing with this album. It to me. So let me ask you guys this: at this point in Megadeth's career, are they still on the trajectory of we have to answer every single Metallica album?
I think at this point they are not on that. They have distanced themselves from that. I was actually going to bring that up.
So would you say that this is not an answer to Saint Anger?
Not at all.
Okay.
I wouldn't even say it. It's not even in the same genre to me.
Okay, that's fair. Cool. So for me, this album is the worst of all 10 of the ones we listened to. It just reeks of trying to keep up with the time. It not only does it reek of trying to keep up with the times, I don't know what it is. Like, look, Saint Anger is not a good album, but something that just rubs me the wrong way about Saint Anger is that there's the producer plays the bass in the album, and the fact that this is just like a bunch of session musicians and just Dave's. I mean, I don't know. Like, I knew this about it before I went into it, so maybe that takes it away from it. I don't know. The fact that this was an album, it kind of feels like he was forced into. And also, the album itself kind of feels like a. I mean, the whole thing.
He's not forced into it. He wrote these as a solo project.
What's that?
Dave Mustaine he's not forced into writing these songs. He did these as a solo project.
So basically, these songs have already been written. He just released them as a Megadeth album.
Yeah, he was contractually obligated to. He was still under contract to release a Megadeth record, so he put it. He put the Megadeth name on the record, and then he decided to reform the band. Or at some point during that whole recording process, he decided to reform Megadeth. That's when he tried to get the classic lineup back and restart, hit the reboot button on Megadeth.
Okay, I mean that's fair. So getting back to the theme of this album, that it's like this. I know their new album's called Dystopia or whatever, but it's like this apocalyptic wartime album, and it has like the same themes of like news reports and whatever throughout it. It just doesn't click with me. The guitar playing, none of it's memorable, or rather, I should say, most of it is not memorable. It just I feel like it's still standard tuning as far as the guitar playing goes, but there's not one single solitary memorable riff in this album. To me, it's just them playing Dave or whoever just opening just open D, open E, whatever the fuck it is, and it's just so boring. It is such a boring album to me that just lacks any resemblance of substance. I re-listened to it today, and I changed the shitometer score from a 90, because that's what it was until today, at 90. I'll get into that first in a second. The production to me was noticeably poorer than previous entries. Sometimes, especially during this era of music, I feel like that was kind of something they did on purpose. Not they, but I mean musicians.
Did you hear the remaster? I'm convinced you didn't.
I did.
God.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah, yes way. And as far as lyrics go, I mean, nothing stood out. This is a very, very boring, abysmal album to me. But after re-listening to it today twice, I might add, I changed the score. Lowlights will be Truth Be Told, and then the rest of the album. Highlights are Back in the Day, which has like the only good like lead or the only good guitar melody to it, in my opinion. And then I will say only the guitar solo / lead in Kick the Chair. The rest of that song is dog shit. But this is the first time a Megadeth guitar solo / lead stands out, and it would be in Kick the Chair. The system has failed, and my shitometer is a 70%. Do not recommend. This album is garbage. I will never listen to it ever again.
Okay, we're about to have completely different scores, and I know I joked earlier that I was going to change my score to like combat you or whatever. I didn't, but I couldn't even. like I couldn't even make up for. I think it's 100% like a travesty that this album is now. No, even if I gave it a 1 and Josh gave it a 1, right, which it doesn't deserve, but like this album still wouldn't get the overall score that I think it absolutely deserves. So let's hear a completely different review. So production. This album has great production. I think it's the best production this album has had since Rust in Peace. I think the production is super aggressive. It's like the first time out of all 5 of these albums, it's the first time where the guitars actually like sound powerful. I love musicianship. I think it's clearly the best musicianship. Like, it's not even fucking close. The musicianship is the best since Rust in Peace. It's actually the first metal. Out of all 5 of these, it's the only metal album that we've heard. All the other ones are I guess, alternative metal or the more traditional, like just the 4/4, just the groove, plotting metal. Like, this actually has tempo. Like, I don't even know, like the other albums don't even know what tempo is, right? So this album has tempo. Songs actually, they change time. They actually change with what they're doing rather than just doing the same thing over and over again. Vocally, I think this is like some of the best that Dave Mustaine has sounded in his entire career up to this point. I think lyrically, I pretty much know most of the lyrics to this song, or most of the lyrics to this whole album. I could pretty much sing this album pretty much from start to finish, with the exception of a few songs.
Remember when you could sing Cyanide from start to finish, like the week after they performed it live at Ozfest?
That's true. But we're talking about an album that I've only heard for 5 weeks.
That's fair.
And obviously, I grew up as a Metallica fan, right? It's not quite the same thing. Okay. Lowlights, I think Adrian, it was good that you called out Truth Be Told. I do have that as my sole lowlight. My highlights are Blackmail the Universe, Die Dead Enough, Kick the Chair, The Scorpion, and I put the rest of the album as fantastic. Because if you notice, I just went in order of the first 4 tracks as the highlights. But basically, the rest of the album is also solid as well. Before Josh goes, because I don't really know where he's going to go with this, but I genuinely think I had a hard time not rating this above Rust in Peace. I absolutely love this record. I think it's easier to listen to than Rust in Peace. Rust in Peace is really, really good. But I think this is like I think this is the perfect like swirl of the technicality that they went for on Rust in Peace and what they tried to achieve with Countdown, Euthanasia, and Cryptic Writings. I think this is the album that should have came after Rust in Peace. And had it come out after Rust in Peace, I think it'd have been wildly successful. I give this album a 14.
Damn, that's a pretty big delta between 14 and 70.
Yeah.
All right. So on this album, I put the production, it's a step back in the right direction. Instrumentally wise, I put this is the best the music has sounded since Euthanasia. It's got fun riffs, it has cool solos. And vocal wise, I thought this was the best vocally of any of the albums out of these 5 here. I like the barking vocals in it, but he's got some good melodies and stuff like that in it as well. I don't know why I didn't put the singles on here. So Die Dead Enough and Of Mice and Men were actually the 2 singles released from this album. Those are my 2 lowlights. Die Dead Enough, I hate the lyrics and it sounds like a James Bond song. And Of Mice and Men, I hate the intro. And then the rest of the song is just very stock. Highlights, I put Kick the Chair. That's a great riff, great vocals in it, has a really good solo in it. The Scorpion, I thought that was a fun guitar intro, has a really good chorus into it. Tears in a Vial, that one reminds me a lot of Shot in the Dark by Ozzy. Great melody on the chorus, good intro riff. Back in the Day, and I don't know what you guys are thinking, man. I got Truth Be Told on there as a highlight. I enjoy that song. I thought that was a good one. I leaned more towards Dave on this one. I think this is the second best Megadeth album by far. This is the one that I fluctuated on the most because, like, on my first listen, I wasn't that into it, and the more I've listened to it over time, it's really growing on me. I gave this album a 27%.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that weighed heavily down by Adrian's score. That is going to be a 37 overall. I think that is criminally underrated. But that still puts it that still puts it pretty low.
So give us the order of the 10 now, Dave.
So we got okay, hold on. Let me give you the full order here.
Start with Risk and then go down.
Okay, so from worst to best so far, we got Risk with a 77.67. We got The World Needs a Hero at a 49. Countdown to Extinction, 44.33. Peace Sells, 39. System Has Failed, 37. Cryptic Writings, 36. So Far, So Good, So What, 35.67. Euthanasia, 35. Killing Is My Business, 34.67. And Rust in Peace at a 19.33.
All right. So if you guys have, and I have, which of the 5 from the last 5 have y'all revisited, if any? And I'll tell you right now, there's only been one, and it's Killing Is My Business. I've revisited
Rust in Peace.
Okay. Dave?
So yeah, I mean, Rust in Peace is the only one that I've actively went back and listened to just for fun. And I was reminded of how much better it is than the majority of these 5 albums. Okay. But I mainly went back and listened to it just because I wanted to compare it to System Has Failed, because I legitimately, for a moment, considered either lowering my score of Rust in Peace or raise, but I was considering lowering my score of Rust in Peace because I really think System Has Failed was close to that record.
So
but go ahead.
Just so you know, in 2 years, I'm going to ask you how many times you've listened to The System Has Failed or any tracks from it. And when you say 0, I'm going to remind you of how right I've been and how right I always am about things like this.
Dude, no,
so
you aren't.
But I am. Do I need to bring up the what's the name of that fucking album, Death Magnetic, again? Y'all thought it was good and y'all gave me shit for not liking it. And now fast forward to 2021, I think I'd defend it more than y'all would. I mean,
guess what? When we get to that album, it's still going to rate higher than most of the Megadeth catalog. So while we may say it's the worst Metallica album, Megadeth would be pleased as shit to have written this album.
Yeah.
Either
probably.
way, we're not here to debate that today. We're wrapping up here on these 5 albums. So looking ahead here, coming up in the next 5 weeks, we're going to be talking about the final 5 Megadeth albums here. That's going to be United Abominations, Endgame, 13, Super Collider, and Dystopia.
What do we know?
I'm excited for some new albums. I know Dystopia, of the 2 songs that I've heard on Dystopia from the live concert the other day, I'm looking forward to getting to that album. I think that's gonna supplant The System Has Failed as being the second best album.
So, what about their direction as far as a band, members, etc.? What do we know?
So, what I can tell you as far as direction is the direction that they took with The System Has Failed. They do continue that direction. So more of a more traditional thrash metal type of direction. So, United Abominations, Endgame. Endgame is supposed to be is very highly touted of the 5 in particular. United Abominations is also very highly rated, but Endgame in particular is supposed to be really, really good. 13.
I think Super Collider is the only one that's supposed to be like the real stinker on this. On this list, right?
Some people consider, just to give you, I'm on Metal Storm. If you haven't been to metalstorm.net, no sponsorship, but they're pretty good website when it comes to just like fan reviews and things like that. So just to give you an idea, out of 900 votes, the Risk is rated 5.5 out of 10. On a traditional 10-point scale. Super Collider out of 613 votes is a 5.6. So just to give ourselves an idea on what to expect from Super Collider, it doesn't sound very good at all. So I'm not looking forward to that. But the other ones, I can just say I won't go over all of them. But the other ones are pretty favorably rated. So I think these 5 will be hopefully enjoyable. Although maybe not for Adrian, depending on how close these are to
System has failed.
Yeah, to System has failed. So
let me put it this way, and this is what I'll do before we get to this next podcast: is I'll revisit Countdown and I'll revisit the System has failed, because these two are both albums that
you had the least amount of time with.
No. They completely changed the direction of the band was going, their trajectory as far as style and all that. So that always has an effect on me. I feel like that has an effect on me as far as Load and Reload go. It has an effect on me as far as Saint Anger goes. Just the sudden change in style. It's always weird to me. I feel like bands have to find. It takes more than just one album to find that footing. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'll have. I mean, can I have a different score for these 2 albums next time, or does that not matter?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think absolutely. Once we kind of like, I guess, give you a sneak peek of what we're going to do next time is, after we go over the 5 Megadeth albums, the ones that we're going to listen to upcoming, we'll probably go through and take some time to kind of give our overall thought process on Megadeth, our overall experience. We'll give that opportunity, for anyone who needs to revise any of their scores as they've listened to it. We'll go through all the revisions, do that, and then reorder the albums again one final time to kind of determine, the ultimate Megadeth list, I guess, as we would recommend it.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to some new music because this was only supposed to take 5 weeks, but we ended up having to extend it out. So, so I might just like highly rate United Abominations just because it's going to be the newest one I get to listen to. So, but we'll see.
Will tell you, I do think the System has failed suffered from me being Megadethed out. I mean, when I got to it, I'm 9 weeks into only listening to Megadeth. And I think we had like a week break last week where I actually got to listen to different music. So, I will admit that it's very possible the System has failed suffered from my just being just so fucking sick of Megadeth from only listening to them for 9 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So, and that made...
I think when we tackle Slayer and Anthrax, I think we're going to go back and forth.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just so we could change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, because my knowledge on Slayer is only Rain and Blood, and my knowledge of Anthrax is basically the singles. Like, I don't know shit about Anthrax.
The only thing we need to care about as far as Slayer goes is Rain and Blood, but we'll see if my mind has changed when we get there.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's it. I think we've successfully completed another podcast.
I literally can't.
Thanks for everybody, and we'll see you next time.